Welcome to the God Quiz channel. Are you ready for a new challenge? Before we dive in, show your support by giving us a like, subscribing, and commenting Amen below. Don't forget to share how many questions you answered correctly at the end. So, let's get started. Question 1. Who was the left-handed judge who killed King Eglon of Moab? A. Samson. B. Gideon. C. Ehud. D. Jephthah. The right answer is letter C. Again, the Israelites cried out to the Lord, and he gave them a deliverer, Ehud, a left-handed man, the son of Gera the Benjamite. The Israelites sent him with tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Now Ehud had made a double-edged sword about a cubit long, which he strapped to his right thigh under his clothing. Question 2. Who had a donkey that spoke to him? A. Balak. B. Balaam. C. Baruch. D. Barnabas. The right answer is letter B. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, "What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You have made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now." The donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your own donkey which you have always ridden to this day?" Question 3. Who was the prophet that lay on his side for 390 days to symbolize the years of Israel's sin? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter C. Then lie on your left side and put the sin of the people of Israel upon yourself. You are to bear their sin for the number of days you lie on your side. I have assigned you the same number of days as the years of their sin. So for 390 days, you will bear the sin of the people of Israel. Question 4. Who did God command to name his children Lo-Ami and Lo-Ruhamah as signs of judgment against Israel? A. Hosea. B. Amos. C. Micah. D. Joel. The right answer is letter A. Gomer conceived again and gave birth to a daughter. Then the Lord said to Hosea, "Call her Lo-Ruhamah, which means not loved, for I will no longer show love to Israel, that I should at all forgive them. Yet I will show love to Judah, and I will save them, not by bow, sword, or battle, or by horses and horsemen, but I, the Lord their God, will save them." Question 5. Who found honey inside the carcass of a lion he had killed? A. David. B. Samson. C. Solomon. D. Saul. The right answer is letter B. Some time later, when he went back to marry her, he turned aside to look at the lion's carcass, and in it he saw a swarm of bees and some honey. He scooped out the honey with his hands and ate as he went along. When he rejoined his parents, he gave them some, and they too ate it. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey from the lion's carcass. Question 6. Who made an axe head float by throwing a stick into the water? A. Elijah. B. Nathan. C. Samuel. D. Elisha. The right answer is letter D. As one of them was cutting down a tree, the iron axe head fell into the water. "Oh no, my lord," he cried out. "It was borrowed." The man of God asked, "Where did it fall?" When he showed him the place, Elisha cut a stick and threw it there and made the iron float. "Lift it out," he said. Then the man reached out his hand and took it. Question 7. Who was the woman who hid 2 spies under flax on her roof? A. Deborah. B. Ruth. C. Rahab. D. Esther. The right answer is letter C. But the woman had taken the 2 men and hidden them. So she said, "Yes, the men did come to me, but I did not know where they had come from. At dusk, when the gate was about to close, the men went out, and I do not know which way they went. Pursue them quickly, and you may catch them." Question 8. Who was the man who danced naked before the Lord when the Ark of the Covenant was brought to Jerusalem? A. Solomon. B. David. C. Saul. D. Jonathan. The right answer is letter B. When those carrying the ark of the Lord had advanced 6 paces, he sacrificed an ox and a fattened calf. And David, wearing a linen ephod, danced with all his might before the Lord, while he and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and the sounding of the ram's horn. Question 9. Who was the first king of the northern kingdom of Israel after the division? A. Rehoboam. B. Jeroboam. C. Ahab. D. Omri. The right answer is letter B. When all Israel heard that Jeroboam had returned, they summoned him to the assembly and made him king over all Israel. Only the tribe of Judah followed the house of David. And when Rehoboam arrived in Jerusalem, he mobilized the whole house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen warriors. Question 10. Who was struck with leprosy for speaking against Moses? A. Miriam. B. Aaron. C. Korah. D. Caleb. The right answer is letter A. So the anger of the Lord burned against them, and he departed. As the cloud lifted from above the tent, suddenly Miriam became leprous, white as snow. Aaron turned toward her, saw that she was leprous, and said to Moses, "My Lord, please do not hold against us this sin we have so foolishly committed." Question 11. Who was the Persian king who married Esther? A. Xerxes. B. Darius. C. Artaxerxes. D. Cyrus. The right answer is letter A. She was taken to King Xerxes in the royal residence in the 10th month, the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. Now the king was attracted to Esther more than to any of the other women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. So he set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Question 12. Who was the prophet taken to heaven in a chariot of fire? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Elijah. The right answer is letter D. You have requested a difficult thing, said Elijah. Nevertheless, if you see me as I am taken from you, it will be yours. But if not, then it will not be so. As they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire with horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up into heaven in a whirlwind. Question 13. Who killed a lion and a bear before fighting Goliath? A. Saul. B. David. C. Jonathan. D. Samson. The right answer is letter B. But David said to Saul, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear." Question 14. Who built a monument to himself and then died by being eaten by worms? A. Herod Agrippa. B. Pilate. C. Felix. D. Festus. The right answer is letter A. On the appointed day, Herod, wearing his royal robes, sat on his throne and delivered a public address to the people. They shouted, "This is the voice of a God, not of a man." Immediately, because Herod did not give praise to God, an angel of the Lord struck him down, and he was eaten by worms and died. Question 15. Who was the prophet that cooked food over human dung to symbolize the defiled food of the Israelites? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter C. You are to weigh out 20 shekels of food to eat each day, and you are to eat it at set times. You are also to measure out a sixth of a hin of water to drink, and you are to drink it at set times. And you shall eat the food as you would a barley cake, after you bake it over dried human excrement in the sight of the people. Question 16. Who was the man whose ear Peter cut off during Jesus' arrest? A. Ezekiel. B. Caiaphas. C. Annas. D. Malchus. The right answer is letter D. "I told you that I am he," Jesus replied. "So if you are looking for me, let these men go." This was to fulfill the word he had spoken. "I have not lost one of those you have given me." Then Simon Peter drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Question 17. Who was the Babylonian official who tried to kill all the Jews in the time of Esther? A. Haman. B. Mordecai. C. Ahasuerus. D. Zerubbabel. The right answer is letter A. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not bow down or pay him homage, he was filled with rage. And when he learned the identity of Mordecai's people, he scorned the notion of laying hands on Mordecai alone. Instead, he sought to destroy all of Mordecai's people, the Jews, throughout the kingdom of Xerxes. Question 18. Who was the king who saw the writing on the wall during a feast? A. Nebuchadnezzar. B. Belshazzar. C. Darius. D. Cyrus. The right answer is letter B. At that moment, the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall near the lampstand in the royal palace. As the king watched the hand that was writing, his face grew pale and his thoughts so alarmed him that his hips gave way and his knees knocked together. Question 19. Who was the father of the prophet Samuel? A. Elkanah. B. Eli. C. Hophni. D. Phinehas. The right answer is letter A. Now there was a man named Elkanah who was from Ramathaim Zophim in the hill country of Ephraim. He was the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had 2 wives, one named Hannah and the other Peninnah, and Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Question 20. Who was the first priest mentioned in the Bible? A. Aaron. B. Samuel. C. Melchizedek. D. Eli. The right answer is letter C. After Abram returned from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, that is, the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine since he was priest of God Most High, and he blessed Abram. Question 21. Who was the prophet that anointed Jehu as king of Israel? A. Elijah. B. Elisha. C. Nathan. D. Samuel. The right answer is letter B. The prophet Elisha summoned a man from the company of the prophets and said to him, "Tuck your cloak into your belt. Take this flask of olive oil with you and go to Ramoth Gilead. When you get there, look for Jehu son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi. Go to him, get him away from his companions and take him into an inner room." Question 22. Who saw the heavens opened and a sheet filled with animals lowered down? A. John. B. Paul. C. Peter. D. James. The right answer is letter C. He became hungry and wanted something to eat, but while the meal was being prepared, he fell into a trance. He saw heaven open and something like a large sheet being let down to earth by its four corners. It contained all kinds of four-footed animals and reptiles of the earth, as well as birds of the air. Question 23. Who was the Moabite king who hired Balaam to curse Israel? A. Balak. B. Ogi. C. Sihon. D. Laban. The right answer is letter A. So, Balak son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at that time, sent messengers to summon Balaam son of Beor, who was at Pethor, near the Euphrates River in his native land. Balak said, "A people has come out of Egypt. They cover the face of the land and have settled next to me. Now come and put a curse on these people because they are too powerful for me." Question 24. Who was the prophet that prophesied to King Ahab that he would die in battle? A. Elijah. B. Isaiah. C. Elisha. D. Micaiah. The right answer is letter D. Take Micaiah and return him to Amon the governor of the city, and to Joash the king's son, and tell them that this is what the king says. Put this man in prison and feed him only bread and water until I return safely. But Micaiah replied, "If you ever return safely, the Lord has not spoken through me." Then he added, "Take heed, all you people." Question 25. Who was thrown into a cistern and left to die but was later rescued? A. Ezekiel. B. Jeremiah. C. Isaiah. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter B. "Here he is," replied King Zedekiah. "He is in your hands, since the king can do nothing to stop you." So they took Jeremiah and dropped him into the cistern of Malchiah, the king's son, which was in the courtyard of the guard. They lowered Jeremiah with ropes into the cistern, which had no water but only mud, and Jeremiah sank down into the mud. Question 26. Who did God give a vision of a ram and a goat fighting? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter D. "And in the vision I saw myself in the citadel of Susa, in the province of Elam. I saw in the vision that I was beside the Ulai Canal. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw a ram with 2 horns standing beside the canal. The horns were long, but one was longer than the other, and the longer one grew up later." Question 27. Who had a vision of an angel touching his lips with a live coal? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter A. Then one of the seraphim flew to me, and in his hand was a glowing coal that he had taken with tongs from the altar. And with it he touched my mouth and said, "Now that this has touched your lips, your iniquity is removed and your sin is atoned for." Question 28. Who did God instruct to build an altar and sacrifice his son on it as a test of faith? A. Noah. B. Jacob. C. Abraham. D. Moses. The right answer is letter C. Sometime later, God tested Abraham and said to him, "Abraham." "Here I am," he answered. "Take your son," God said, "your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah. Offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains which I will show you." So Abraham got up early the next morning, saddled his donkey, and took along 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. Write on the comments how many questions you answered correctly. If you like this quiz, rate it with the like button. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Amen.